Here is the latest in this next step of fascism. This president going after what he deems his political enemies, which is really anybody who tells the truth. He's now gone after former FBI Director James Comey.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump, but we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either. Somebody that I love dearly recently said that fear is the tool of a tyrant, and she's right. But I'm not afraid, and I hope you're not either. I hope instead you are engaged, you are paying attention, and you will vote like your beloved country depends upon it, which it does. My heart is broken for the Department of Justice, but I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial and keep the faith.
James Comey responding directly in the camera on a TikTok, I'm sorry, that's an Instagram, about this indictment that came down from Donald Trump's Justice Department on all kinds of random things that I don't think many people think are really going to stick. But as this was all building up, Donald Trump was asked about it, and look at him and Plan Bondi playing stupid yesterday before this came down. The games are just clownish. Watch.
There could be an indictment on James Comey. Do you know if there is an indictment, or Madam Attorney?
I don't know. I know it's going on because I read the papers just like you do, right? So I don't know. Do you have anything to say about that?
We can't comment on that.
I don't even know what the purpose of that is. I mean, I don't know about it. I read about it in the papers. So Donald Trump brings out a newspaper, this is, again, showing his age. He reads about it in the papers just like you do. He's talking to folks in the media. Why are the folks in the media reading it in the papers? They're the media. Whatever. Every time he says he's disconnected from one of the things that he does, he tells probably like the next sentence how exactly he was connected. So actually, let's get to the details of this indictment.
Obviously, we've seen this indictment now. It's just about 2 pages. It's quite brief, actually. As you combed through it, what stood out to you?
Yeah, no, the bare bones nature of this charge, of this indictment, really stands out. And what we know about it, Caitlin, is that Lindsay Halligan, who is the newly installed U.S. Attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia, she is the one who personally presented this to the grand jury. That's not normal. Usually you have career assistant U.S. attorneys who make these presentations to the grand jury. In this case, we know that there were concerns that were raised by the career lawyers in that office who did not believe that this was a case that they could bring to fruition. And so what we have here is 2 counts against the former FBI director, an extraordinary day in American history, of course. But we also know that there was a 3rd count that prosecutors had tried to get approval for that the grand jury rejected. We know that what was rejected, according to the magistrate judge, was a count of false statements in the jurisdiction of a congressional proceeding and obstruction of a congressional proceeding. And so those 2 carry 5-year terms if he is convicted.
I saw other folks analyzing this last night, and what they were talking about was the fact that this is one of these 2-page reports with very thin on details, though, which was very similar to what they were saying beforehand, which actually led me to think that they were going to miss their window on it. But as it sounds, even as this new U.S. attorney out in Virginia had to directly deliver this to the grand jury, which is also uncommon, apparently, according to that reporter. So there's just a lot of odd issues surrounding it. And the lack of clarity about what it is that they're shooting for and exactly how they think they're going to get it.
Fundamentally, there's a major flaw here, which is that this false statements count is predicated on Ted Cruz's summary of Andy McCabe's testimony. If, as Ellie says, McCabe's testimony was different than what Cruz said, and in fact, he did testify that he told Comey the day after he actually did the leak. Well, of course, Comey couldn't have authorized it beforehand. And so that will essentially nullify any argument that this is a false statement, not to mention all the other requirements of materiality to the investigation, et cetera. But they're basing this on a summary of McCabe's testimony, not on McCabe's testimony.
It's almost like it's amateur hour. They're basing this off of Ted Cruz's summary of that testimony that actually says these things happened in a different order that wouldn't even allow James Comey to be aware of allowing Andrew McCabe to leak, which is the basis for what they're saying he lied about. It's his responsibility, they're saying, and also that he lied, that he told McCabe that he could actually leak. It's kind of constant and blatant. Even more so that Andrew McCarthy over on Fox News, he didn't even have anything very nice to say about it.
First, give us your reaction to the indictment.
Well, I don't think there's a case. The things that Kash Patel that you just played, that he was talking about, that you and I have spoken about for years, Maria, the Russiagate stuff, I'm as big a critic of that probably as there is. I wrote a book about it. I think it was a disgrace, and history will remember it that way. This indictment is not about that, and it seems to be premised on something that's not true, which is that McCabe said that Comey authorized him to leak to the Wall Street Journal. If you look closely at what McCabe said was that he directed a leak to the Wall Street Journal and told Comey about it after the fact. So it's true that Comey never authorized it in the sense of okaying it before it happened. So I don't see how they can make that case. What this case is about is Comey is accused of lying because what Ted Cruz said, and this, yeah, right, and what Cruz said, and I think this was just a garble on his part, was that Comey authorized McCabe to orchestrate the leak. And what the Inspector General found, and this isn't even just what the Inspector General found, this is McCabe's own version of events.
Right.
McCabe said that he directed the leak and he told Comey about it afterwards. Now, they have a dispute about what exactly McCabe told Comey afterwards and whether Comey was approving or disapproving of it. But the charge is that Comey authorized the leak, and he didn't authorize the leak.
I see.
Maria Bartiromo sounded a little bit there disappointed. I see, Andrew, damn it. It's like I didn't think about this before. I came on here thinking this was going to be a total propaganda segment. The main part about this is that they can dismiss these charges when it's obvious that it's been all based in political retribution. And even though Donald Trump, I guess, knows that, he still posted this immediately after. This guy's such an idiot. Right after the indictment came down, that he said he didn't know was going to happen. Pam, do you know anything about this? He posted this: "Justice in America. One of the worst human beings in this country has ever been exposed to is James Comey, the former corrupt head of the FBI. Today, he was indicted by a grand jury on 2 felony counts for various illegal and unlawful acts." Which ones are those, Donnie? "He has been so bad for our country for so long and is now at the beginning of being held responsible for his crimes against our nation." So this guy gets indicted, and you immediately go on social media to then talk about how guilty he is, how justice is going to be. This is the president of the United States. So if there's some criminal proceedings going on that you pushed, and we obviously saw you push for it, and you go on immediately after it goes down and say, justice, it's going to happen. This guy's so guilty. Imagine the way that that's potentially destroying any kind of jury pool or any kind of public opinion on this. This could be tossed out just from that type of stuff. I mean, I'm no attorney. Maybe it can be tossed out from that, but it's not a good look for the president to then immediately be talking about it. And dude didn't even shut up. He still had more. Whether you like corrupt James Comey or not, and I can't imagine too many people liking him, he lied. It's not a complex lie. It's a very simple but important one. There's no way he can explain his way out of it. He's a dirty cop and always has been, but he was just assigned a crooked Joe Biden appointed judge, so he's off to a very good start. Nevertheless, words are words, and he wasn't hedging or in dispute. He was very positive. There was no doubt in his mind about what he said or meant by saying it. He left himself zero margin for error on a big and important answer to a question. He just got unexpectedly caught. James Dirty Cop Comey was a destroyer of lives. He knew exactly what he was saying, and that it was a very serious and far-reaching lie for which a very big price must be paid. This guy's like writing like a fantasy novel about his look for, some kind of revenge. Like, that's written in this way that's like, James Dirty Cop Comey, like this. Now he has to add more quotation names to people in the middle of an indictment that he says is very important and very big deal. But he's definitely minimizing it with all these posts about it. And when I say all these posts, it means, yeah, there was another one. At least this one was short. James Comey's a dirty cop. Make America great again. So why would anyone believe that this guy is not completely corrupt and has not corrupted the Department of Justice, corrupted the FBI, and has told his minions to do everything that he told them to do. And if anybody had any issue or believed his lies before about how there was a weaponization of our judicial system and that dirty Joe Biden was going after all these people, I mean him, and then got those 34 felony counts against him carried out. Oh, and then there was also E. Jean Carroll who got that rape charge against him carried out. It's weird how he kept losing in court, but this guy has already adjudicated the whole thing on Truth Social before they even gone anywhere. And what he's actually doing is destroying the case that apparently was already bad from the first place. He's a clown. He's a child. He thinks he's getting some kind of revenge because he thinks he's the only person that matters in the country.